all. This is Seema Govil with Swati Joshi, and today is all about voting and elections. This is next 10 minutes. You've got to be tuned in. You've got to listen what we are going to talk about. We are giving you some pertinent information that you will use it really well in next couple of weeks while you're making decisions on voting. So stay tuned, and let me introduce you to our guest Swati. Swati Joshi is an activist, a community leader, an engineer, and then in 2019, Swati joined Desi Blue, a national grassroots organization with the primary goal to activate and mobilize the South Asian American community in the democratic process. So Swati, thank you for making this time. Welcome to our show and YouTube, Facebook Live, wherever we are.
Thank you, Seema. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, so great. So let's just dive in. I want people to know about all the myths. Let's bust all the myths that are going around the voting, because there are lots of elements this year, of course, with the COVID, with mail-in, and with the parties, what they're representing, what they're saying. So let's just go into all of them for our South Asian communities, what they believe, what they're seeing in news, but it's so not true. All those WhatsApp videos that are going around. So let's get into the first one, is about voting based on religion.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people are saying that Biden is going to be, preferring one religion over the other, and being more partial to a specific religion. And I don't think that that's the way he's posing himself, or he's selected Kamala Harris for one thing. She is she has an Indian background, which we are excited about. She has a Caribbean background, so she's from a multi-religious family, and so that's one. She's Hindu from her mother's side, right? So how can anyone say that Biden would be partial to one religion or another, especially seeing who he has selected as his running mate?
That's right.
So yeah, I think the other myth we've heard is that Trump is better than Biden for India, and we've seen recently, especially, that Trump is not for India. Actually, he's blocked family immigration. He's blocked H-1B visas. He's denying climate change and, even threatening our existence. He really only cares about himself. He only cares about the power that he has over everyone else. He's hungry for power, and he really is not looking out for India and, destroying the trade status between the two countries. And as of recently, he's been mocking the fact that, the cases of COVID are rising in India. So, I mean, he doesn't care about India. And then for those who think that, because they like Modi, and then Trump is friends with Modi, that they have to vote for Trump because of their loyalty to Modi. That's not the case either. I mean, he really does not. It was a lot of dramatics that he did doing the Howdy Modi, showing up at the Howdy Modi event, and then showing up in India to meet with Modi. But besides that, he really has not been a friend to India, given all of the things that he's done against India. And I'll repeat that, he did the H-1B visa, the bans that he's put on those. And those are, pretty significant for our community, because we're trying to, some of our family members may be trying to come over here, and they're being denied the visa to come here. So he's not really a friend of India's. And voting for Biden will not make you an enemy of Modi. You can still support Modi and vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
In fact, Indian values align with Democratic Party.
Yes, they do. I mean, our value system, we come from an ancient culture where values are, at the top of the list, where we behave nicely with people, the way we respect our elders, and even just in the day-to-day choices that we make. The Hindu values are very important to us. And you can clearly see that values are actually at the bottom of Trump's list. He doesn't care about values. He will call everybody a name. He just called Kamala a name during right after the
Debate. Yeah.
debate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he doesn't care. He has zero values, whereas we should be looking at our values and staying with our Hindu values or Indian values, Desi values. So it's not just, I shouldn't just say Hindu, it's all of
Indian.
the religions that are in our South Asian community, right? We
Yeah.
have good values.
Yeah. Yeah. We were brought up with number one was honesty. Like from
Exactly.
1 or 2 years old, we were told, okay, never lie, never lie. We are all very sincere, hardworking, compassionate, and we care for our community. From beginning, we've seen our
Absolutely.
parents getting involved with neighbors and everything. India is what? India is just a big community, right?
Exactly. I
And
mean,
everyone cares for each other. Like you grow, I grow, we grow together kind of a culture we grew up with.
right. We're
So,
like family, our neighbors are our family members, practically,
I
right?
mean, we're caring people, and these are the values that our leaders have, and we can trust Biden Harris to, handle the catastrophes that we are seeing, you know, with
Exactly.
sincerity and keeping us in mind. I think we feel very safe. I feel very safe with them. That's the best way to describe.
Yeah, I mean they do call him Uncle Joe, right? So he he's like our uncle, and he has those same values that you just mentioned that we as Indians and Desis have. We believe in honesty, and we care about our community, and we care about our people. And I mean, if you contrast that with Trump, he's not honest. I mean, we don't know even I can bring up recent events. We don't know how many times he's been tested for the COVID virus. Is he positive still? Is he negative? He's taking all this medication. We don't know anything aside from the fact that he's trying to hold another rally. So, but Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they're honest. They care about their community. I mean, look at what Joe has been through, and yet he still has a smile on his face, and he doesn't call people names. He's a nice guy.
Well, he carries grace. Kamala carries grace. The way they
Yes.
stood up, she stood up for herself,
Mm-hmm.
as she showed herself that she's a strong woman. Excuse me, I'm speaking. She
Yeah.
answered all the questions very calmly, gracefully, sophisticatedly. She's like a model. Like I would want my daughter to, be like that. Even Joe that
Absolutely.
day, he stood up to everything on during that debate. I mean, it can overwhelm and stress anyone out, but
I think so. I mean, it's almost impossible to fight with a bully because they're going to be louder and nonsensical as much as possible. And you can't fight with someone who's not making any sense. And both Trump and Pence were not making sense. They weren't answering the questions. They were just saying words. It was absolutely nonsensical. And so, Joe and Kamala stood up to them, and they tried to make their voices heard, and she did. I mean, I, as a woman and as a person who's been in industry and in high tech and large companies, it's hard for women to get ahead in anything, and she has gotten so far, and it makes me so proud to have her as a role model for not only myself but my daughter and everybody else that's around, that all the little girls that are in this country.
and how can we continue lead this country with all these issues going around? And I mean, we'll suffer for decades, not years. We will not be able to recover after 4 more
No.
years of this presidency and this Supreme Court.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that we're going to have a hard time digging ourselves out of is the deficit,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're in a, what is it, $3.1 trillion
Brilliant.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're in a huge deficit, which means we owe money to somebody, right? Probably one of them is China. And so you know, if I was in that much of a debt, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, you know. And so and who's going to pay those debts? I mean, it's not just going to be us, it's going to be our children and maybe even their children to get out of such a deep debt, right? So you know, whatever we're hearing about, you know, the Republicans are good for our taxes, you know, they want to reduce taxes. There's some repercussions to that. We're going to be paying for it in some way, some form or another. Trump has been threatening payroll or to cut payroll taxes, which means that, you know, Social Security and Medicare will be affected. So, you know, there's repercussions to all these little things that he's doing to make it seem like, you know, you're saving money on your taxes right now, but in the long run, you're going to be paying for it. That's the problem.
Thank you, Swati.